Hello, I'm Stuart Thompson, editor of Digital TV Europe. I'm here with José Luis Vazquez, who's the CEO of Mirada. José Luis, we hear a lot about super-aggregation these days, but for service providers to adopt super-aggregation successfully, what do they need to do that well and retain and keep customers happy?
Well, the most important thing is having in mind that what the customers are looking for in super-aggregation is a unified way to search content, to have a unique entry point, to have a way to find quickly what they are looking for. And if you don't have metadata for that, that's completely impossible. So some people understand super-aggregation as a portal in which you can access different SVOD or AVOD providers, and you just click and then you go there. This is not providing any value to the final subscriber. You need to have a unified interface, unified homepage, landing page, search recommendation engine. For that, if you don't have the metadata from the service providers, you have nothing.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. It's not only metadata. If you can also have information about what you have been consuming, would be ideal, because then you can build your own continue watching, or because you watch that, you will love that. These kind of agreements with content providers are important for both parties, for the super aggregator and for the content provider also, because if not, they will be lost in a sea of content.
Right. So you mentioned metadata and the unified user interface. What do you see as the main challenges service providers face in aggregating that combination of maybe traditional pay TV services and all these streaming apps and providing that unified experience? What are the challenges?
Well, organizing the content and being able to express your value to have a good value proposition for the subscribers. If you don't have a proper strategy in terms of agreements with content providers, if you don't have in mind that having all this information about the content, updates, regular updates about that content, access to the search tools, being able to mix in a seamless way the on-demand content with live content, because linear content will stay for some specific areas like sports or news. You want linear content. It's more immediate. Okay, so a service provider needs to be a step beyond specific offers from SVOD, FAST, or AVOD. They need to be the way to find what you want to watch, independently of what agreements you have with a specific sources of content.
Absolutely, and yeah. So when you look at that universal experience, bringing that recommendation to everything, how realistic, how possible is it to deliver that universal personalized search and recommendation?
Well, nothing is universal if you don't have all information about the user, because you only have a fragmented view of what the user is consuming in your specific service. Obviously, the bigger the service, and if you are having a bundle that also is comprising broadband usage or telephony usage, depending on the agreements that you have in terms of data protection, etc., you can have a wider view of the user, and you can build a better profile. I have a bit of a concern about personalization, because some people understand personalization just as grabbing information about you have been consuming and being able to predict what you want to watch next. And they don't pay attention about the user experience, the interface. You cannot have the same constricted user interface for every kind of content. You need to adapt your user interface and the user experience to the kind of content that you are offering. Okay, and this is what we have been doing with UX Evolver, and we have been investing in that for more than 3 years now. Being able to adapt your user experience to a specific segment of subscribers, being able to identify that this is a house with kids, and they are engaging less in the last 2 months with the platform than before, and then you build a specific user profile, a specific user experience, a specific layout with content that you are pushing. It's not just, okay, I have these strips and then I need to order the strips properly with the content that I want to push for this specific user. No, it's more than that. You need to personalize also the experience, the navigation, all the intimacy that you have with the service that you are using, not just the content.
And how far do you think you can take that personalization while delivering value to the consumers, but also to the advertisers?
Well, advertisers love this. The fact that you can have a different engagement, a different experience, depending on the user, can give you much more value, because you can have different ways of delivering your your ads. Sorry. In terms of the experience for the final user, they really don't differentiate if you are doing one thing or the other, but they have a much better suited interface for them. And you need to work on that. They will not take the step ahead. You need to take the step towards having a much better interaction with subscribers. So I really believe on personalization. I really believe on the capability of service providers to create segments, to create clusters of users, but they need to have a specific strategy behind the idea of personalization. So the market is working towards that. I think that we are in the right direction, and we have been doing that for several customers, and it's improving, right? But it's more the strategy you have with the marketing team on how you address the different segments of users, how you identify new segments, how you design your complete experience, what will give you a global personalization strategy.
And finally, how far do you think service providers can currently take that segmentation of the audience to optimize the value of their advertising proposition to?
Well, it's not service providers. At the end of the day, if you want to monetize your content through advertising, you need to follow the rules of the genius around about the advertising propositions. So at the end of the day, you need to build segments for them. You are not going to build a segment per user. They will define from you, they will give you basically some indications about how they want you to create profiles or to aggregate profiles for them. Following the advice of the experienced companies on advertising is fundamental to make a fast or able proposition successful.
Great. José Luis, thank you very much.
Stuart, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much.